So, welcome everybody and welcome Sophie.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. It's a long time since we've seen you.
Yeah,
A whole couple of days.
let me do my board.
Okay, we'll do the board.
Is that in frame?
Yeah. So, welcome to At Home with the Fishers, starring Nicola and Chris Fisher RPT with Make It Soph.
Hey.
Hi guys.
And this is episode 26.
Can I put my board down?
You can put your board down now. So let's just say hello to everybody on the chat and anybody who's not in the chat. We've got T plus G Making.
Hi guys.
Ages since we saw them.
Yes. Repeat offenders.
Wayne the Woodturner.
Hi, Wayne.
JP Woodwork.
Hey up.
I think Leona's on.
Hi Leona. Congratulations with the YouTube as well.
Yes. Congratulations, Leona. That's great.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Anna B Workshop. So yeah, I think that's everybody. So great to have you along. Thank you for joining us, and we're thrilled to have Sophie with us as well.
Yeah, to be here.
Isn't it, to go back to lives with a guest?
It is really nice. Well, this is 2 weeks on the bounce now.
It is. Yeah, so we're doing well.
It's great. It really is great. And for those of you that don't know Sophie, where have you been?
Yeah, exactly.
Half the world children, are lining up to make stuff with Sophie.
Well, I'll tell you about the kids. There were those two little boys at Cardiff on Thursday.
Oh yeah, Dylan and Hayden.
They'd seen you there, and then you turned round to say hello to them, and they were literally jumping up and down. It was just so lovely to see. You? They were like, "Oh, Sophie!"
Yeah, they're lovely. They're going to come to the Halloween, I think, Axminster event. So it'd be nice to actually make something with them. But yeah,
that was really nice.
It's very weird to kind of get that response of kids, though. It's really surreal. Lovely, but still, it's still kind of.
I don't want to give too much away, but for people that don't know Sophie, I'm sure you'll be avid followers of her after this podcast. But what she does with and for the kids is amazing. So I won't go any deeper into that. I'll let Sophie tell her because it is her life, it's her story, it's her journey. But we've had the pleasure of knowing Sophie for quite a while now, and she always brings a little bit of sunshine, doesn't she, into the room.
Oh, and we've had Sophie here as well.
We've had Sophie here. Yeah.
That was a brilliant weekend.
Yeah, we did have a good time, and
it was great.
Lots of tea and bacon rolls. It was lovely.
And cakes, and we went out for a meal together.
And woodturning.
That was a small amount. More cakes.
But we've known Sophie for quite a while now. And we've actually sort of like we've sort of like texted and phoned each other, haven't we, from time to time?
Yeah, we have.
Our mind and stuff. So we do keep in touch. But Sophie's massively busy. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. So, Sophie, the first question.
Yes, I'm ready.
I love the answer to this one. Why do you make?
I think now I make because it's second nature. It's like just as I was get up and like make myself breakfast, I just find myself always kind of wanting to be potching with something or making or drawing or even if it's just getting the camera out or doodling on a petrol receipt in the car, I've just always find myself just doing something. And I think I've always been like that. I think my mum says like one of her earliest memories of me was just sitting for hours and hours in the high chair when I was only like about 3, like just with a crayon and just like A4 pieces of paper. But I'd sit there for hours and just not make a mess, but just like I was happy enough just to kind of make and create, and from that sort of age. And I like learning. I think I like to learn something new, and I think if you're in the making sort of community and making is what you like to do, you never run out of kind of tools you could try or different sort of making, or like even new materials you can try, methods, anything like that. There's always something new you can kind of venture into, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And tell, because obviously I know this, but You are a sort of like a formally academically trained maker as well, aren't you? In a way, because
in a sort of way, I went to the University of South Wales to study model making in stop motion animation, and I did that for 3 years, and then I left and kind of did a feature film, which is my first sort of film credit, and the story kind of goes on from that. But it was like a Welsh firm, and it was their first film. And they like pushing forward, they kind of needed to keep on the people who had 20, 30 years experience, and it was only my first job. So I was kind of last one in, first one out sort of thing, and that kind of, it was a bit of a blow, and kind of I was quite depressed, and I was like, oh, I've been studying this for nearly 5 years. What do I do now if I can't have a career in this, and I've been dropped sort of thing. And like that's when my friend said, oh, why don't you start putting your making on YouTube and kind of just put it out there, so you're just not making for yourself, you're actually feeling like people are seeing it, people are like kind of seeing what you're making and kind of pushing it forward that way. And obviously the rest is history. But that started a chain of events. But I firmly believe in everything happens for a reason. So if that had never happened, then I would never have the mini makers, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel, I wouldn't have met any of you guys, anything like that. So it definitely, that kind of blow and kind of little bubble of thing that I just didn't want to make, and kind of after losing that job, then it kind of started a chain of events that I wouldn't change for the world.
It seems to me that you're kind of doing the things that you were meant to do, really.
Yeah.
It seems so well suited to what you're doing, and how you're doing stuff with the kids and how much they all get out of it.
Yeah, and like that's what I was talking a bit about yesterday. It was because of YouTube that the mini makers started. It was only because I was making sort of miniature dioramas then, so kind of staying within the stop motion model making route, but just kind of making the models to put on YouTube. So just kind of doing simple tutorials of those, putting them onto YouTube, and then finding that there was kids watching them, and like the makers community were like showing their kids, and handing the iPad that they might not be technically interested in what I'm doing, but their kids would be. And I had a few like comments and posts, and my kids have copied you from your videos doing this, and that was just, it was unbelievable to kind of get that reaction. It was so surreal, but just lovely. And it's kind of an incentive then that you want to keep doing that. It's addictive, and you want to keep spreading the word. And if these kids all over the world, I think the first mini maker was in Canada, so just to kind of keep doing that and keep growing that way.
Yeah. So is that what you want to do? You want to sort of grow the mini maker part of what you're doing?
Yeah, because at the moment I'm kind of like painting commissions and doing like the pop vinyl toys and selling those as a custom cut to kind of cover my bills. But then I would really love to kind of push mini makers, and still, like, even with the paintings and the Funko Pops, it crosses over. Like the kids would be interested in doing those as well. So anything that I can do to like encourage and inspire the mini makers. But I'd love to go around schools, and eventually in the next few years I'd like to have sort of a creator studio where the kids come to me, or I can go to them on a regular basis, and kind of grow that way, as well as online. So I'm sharing all the maker communities kids and resharing their work, but I'm actually working with the kids as well in the weeks.
So have you been doing quite a bit at the Cardiff store with?
Yeah.
Did you do that over the summer?
Yeah, 2 events in Cardiff store and then one in Basingstoke, and they went brilliantly. They did go really well, because Axminster have got like the Beat the Boredom workshops. So they're kind of moving into that sort of thing to encourage the kids as well, because really, and I think Lee is brilliant, like the store manager at Cardiff, and he's so keen on getting the kids involved, because really they're future customers. You want to be inspiring these kids to make stuff. So then they're away from the tablets, they're away from their PlayStations. They want to make things every day, and
in a way, they're not. They are future customers. They'll be future customers in their own right.
yeah,
But now the customers by proxy, and their mum and dads are buying them stuffs from Atkins. So it's like, they'll be being bought their first, box of screws and glue guns and first set of screwdrivers, to make stuff that you've sort of like inspired in them. So I think, future customers, but I think really already customers, just
exactly,
gets it for them.
And also you get the kids wanting stuff and the parents aren't really into things. Well, you get the parents in a store buying the kids stuff and they end up buying stuff as well. So it's kind of, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, it works both ways. And it definitely happened in the robot workshop I did in Cardiff store. It was just like putting scrap bits of wood together, and the feedback I had for the robots were absolutely insane, because they were like people like saying what a brilliant this idea is, because most people were like, I'd throw this away, but like my kids would love making robots out of this. They'd love it because it's just, a few nuts and bolts, some pipe cleaners and googly eyes, and you've got a character that the kids can play with straight away. And even now, like I think Lee came back and said, "Oh, we've had a few glue gun sales today," and I was like, "Oh well, that's my job done." Ready the glue gun vibe everywhere.
They'll have you back, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. That's cool. So we've talked a bit about the maker community, and I suspect that you've had a lot from the maker community.
Yeah.
What has the maker community given you?
A lot. I think the full stop. But no, I think a second family, I think, is the best way to describe it, because like whereas before I was kind of making for myself, now I find if I make anything, I've got like an audience for my stuff, because my projects are a bit weird and wacky. Even if I just put a video out, I know there'll be someone in the maker community that will like it, because this is something that they do, as well as inspiration, as well as tools, materials. People have been so nice in terms of mini makers, just to kind of say, we'll give you this, we'll give you that for like paper and vinyl and all sorts of things, just so the kids can use them, because at the end of the day, people throw out half the stuff that I can use for the kids, and like scrap wood. And there was a company that my friend John worked for in Bridgend, that they were clearing out all this old vinyl that was no use. It was just going to go in the rubbish or to be burnt or stuff. And I took it to the Axminster store, and they were making capes for their Lego figures out of the stuff. So it's like it wouldn't have happened if you didn't offer it. So it's unbelievable. But yeah, and yourselves, like the wood turning weekend, like just what you've done for me there, it is the basic skills that I could forward on to the kids. Even if it's just spindle turning, I make those snowmen and I just make the rough shape, I can give those to the kids, and then they paint them and they do what they like. So it's just it's everything. It's skills, inspiration, it's materials. I can't speak highly enough of the whole community, because they've been so good to me.
Yeah. Well, we say it every time, it's such a special community. And the people that we know, and some of them we don't see that often, but when you see them, it's they're just like old friends. And it's I mean, I just repeat myself every time, but it's unlike anything I've ever come across.
Yeah, definitely. It is like a family. It's just it doesn't really matter how much time is in between, because it was like Maker Central and then the other Maker Central. It was like that whole gap between those two shows. But when you were there, it felt like you'd known the people for ages, because you kind of keep up with their stories and kind of keep up with their Instagram and YouTube videos and how they're doing, and you see them a lot. And it's even a bit awkward when like you see someone, they don't really know you, and you're like, oh, but I watch your videos all the time. Like, you don't really know me. But I'm just kind of introducing myself to you here.
yeah, you get people just sort of like tapping you on the shoulder and, hiya, Sophie, and oh yeah, I know all about you, and it's sort of like it's great, and you get this real great buzz, and
Yeah.
you get this, sense of, overwhelming happiness, don't you, when someone comes and says, oh, wow, yeah, I've been watching you for ages, and oh, it's so great. And I remember now, when I was demonstrating at Makers this year, you were camped out pretty much opposite me.
Yeah.
The tables were all set up, and it was. I remember I went and had a feel, a bit during, in between demos, and then after the event, and it was just controlled chaos.
Yeah, it is.
It did make me chuckle, and I thought, these kids. Because when I was doing my demos, I was concentrating a lot, and I couldn't see what was going on. But I had my little smile and chuckle to myself, thinking, "This just reeks of huge fun."
Yeah,
a pile of controlled chaos here, and it's just it is amazing. It is amazing, and us having kids and being parents and things like that. It is at the forefront of your mind all the time, the happiness of your children and the well-being. And you do that in spades, it's just like fun factor to the nth degree. Kids love doing it, don't they? Messing about, glue, sticky stuff, wood, metal, whatever, fabric. And, you're giving the kids exactly what they want.
Yeah, it's because even if it's not in so much in schools anymore, but like even in those events alone, like there's like the demonstrations going on, there's people selling stuff. So even if those few corners that the kids can come over, just kind of let loose for a couple of minutes, and then they kind of just getting that energy and their imagination out. And that's what I love being next to be honest, is their imagination. Because even like I said, with those robots I did, and it was just a head, a body, and then 4 like pieces of dowel for the legs and arms. And this one little girl, Erin, she kind of listened to what I was kind of saying and was nodding and agreeing. And then she said, I've listened to everything you've got to say, but I'm going to make a tortoise. I was like, it's fair enough. That's, I'm only here to give you the stuff. It's like, if you want to make a tortoise, then you go for it. Tortoise robot.
Brilliant.
That's classic. I love that.
What was your tortoise called?
Humphrey. Yeah. He was real though.
Yeah. This wasn't real. This had so many different legs. I think, tortoises are only meant to have 4. This one had 6, 7.
It was a mutant tortoise.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah. So, what sort of things do you love to make?
Wow. I think anytime I'm in the shed, it kind of differs. But at the moment, I think it varies between paintings, wood turning, and like my junk builds, because I'm kind of going in between those because people are asking for the paintings, but I want to kind of paint what I want to paint as well. So if I do get time and I have the choice to kind of make what I want to make, I'd say it would be a painting, like a landscape painting, because I kind of stopped painting for a while for whatever reason and told I wasn't very good. So I kind of, it sets you back a bit. Then I wanted to paint. I wanted to keep going and kind of improve. Like I've never been taught like properly how to paint, because I kind of moved into the animation model making side. I wasn't really in the fine art then of how to color and like palettes and how to kind of stretch canvases and all that. So if I do get time, I'd say the paintings, but it kind of puts me in like a sort of headspace that is just so therapeutic, because there's no pressure, there's no sort of guidelines. It doesn't really matter if it's wrong because I can paint over it. It's just nice to kind of know that I can do what I want on a canvas.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I do love wood turning, because I still very much class myself as a newbie and a novice, but like that's kind of learning. So I know that like I love to learn. So wood turning is definitely my learning subject, is whenever I can get the chance. I like to like turn a bowl and see them fly off the lathe now and again. just
whizzing back, sorry to interrupt, but just whizzing back to the art and painting thing.
Yeah.
What artists really inspire you? whether or not they're classical or postmodern or whatever. You know, what artists do you really love? And you look at their paintings and you go, wow, that so does it for me. Any
It would be Turner.
Right.
And he does like the shipwrecks and like the sunsets. I'd say he's my favorite. And then shortly after Da Vinci, just for the fact that how he captures the form, the human form, because I would say I'm not really great at faces and portraiture. So I admire Da Vinci's work like unbelievably. He's one of my idols. But yeah, it's practice. I'll say that to anyone, like, you know, a talent is a pursued interest. If you want to work at it and you want to, you know, learn something that much, you will put the time in and you will get better at it. Like your first painting compared to your 50th, you know, you will get better. So hopefully I'll venture into portraiture eventually.
Yeah, did you catch the dramatisation with Timothy Spall?
No.
Turner.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
That was really good. Really enjoyed listening to that. Well, there you go. Future. What's master? There you go. A future master. So yeah, same as anything. So if you've got to practice and you know you don't get anything unless you put the hours in. Same as an academic university course, learning to drive, painting, wood turning. You know, anybody can do it. It's just not handed to you, is it?
Well, going back to the bit about whoever told you couldn't paint, they obviously needed to go to Specsavers.
Yeah. It was me.
Well, Andy, AH Bespoke, has said that Turner and Van Gogh neither studied art at uni.
Yeah, no, Van Gogh is another one. Like
yeah.
That's the thing.
I know lots of people, not necessarily creatives, but people who are doing stuff, and some of them who I know who are doing really well, you know, like big online A-list bloggers and stuff.
Yeah.
They've never had any training or they've no qualifications, and you don't have to do it. You've got natural skill and natural talent, and
thank you.
It's just developing it over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure the person that was mean to Sophie and said that, because I remember the time that happened, and Nicola, you'd just done a painting.
Oh yeah.
And Nicola described it to me, and we listened to the video.
Yeah.
And Nicola said, "Christ, I wish I could paint that badly."
Well,
yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, I really cannot paint.
Yeah, well, Nicola loves art and paintings. We've got quite a few hung in the house. And Nicola said, "Gee, yeah, I wish I could paint that badly." And you know, whoever said it, you know, screw you, Jack, because you know they're saying, you know, same old story. They probably never drawn or painted anything in their life or made anything. They've just looked at what you're doing and probably tried to compare it to, you know, some, I don't know, some world-class master. But shame on them.
I think as well as that, I think it's getting used to sort of, you will always have people on the internet and on YouTube that will just say something nasty. You can't get rid of them. They will be everywhere. So I think it's just kind of like learning and kind of, I was relatively new. Like it was only my first painting I put out, and then to have that kind of comment, I was like, oh, well, what's the point of me doing it then if I'm going to get those kind of comments? But then it's realizing that there was 50 lovely comments and supportive comments for that one, and I think that's just our mindsets. The kind of the nasty comments take on a bit more than the positive ones now and again.
And I think what you know, you're entitled to feel how you feel, and you get a lot of friends and things getting in touch. And when you've had a bad moment or you've been trolled, people say, "Oh, don't let it bother you. It'll be all right. Don't worry about them." But you do. You've got no chance of just letting it wash on by. You know, when I've had a couple of moments and things, and people said, "Oh, it's all right. Don't let it worry you," but it does.
Yeah, it does.
And there's a famous quote by Eisenhower, and so like the essence of what Eisenhower said, and it was to do with the D-Day landings, I think. Eisenhower said critics do not count.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know,
It's very true.
and it was Guy Martin when he was still racing at the Isle of Man TT. You know, he'd been on the podium, but he'd never actually won a race. And he gets all these people saying, "Oh, Guy, you know, when are you ever going to win?" And oh, you know, you like this there on that corner, and you had a bit of a wobble. And Guy Martin had got sort of like a bit peeved by it, and he said, "Do you think I don't know that I should be winning and going faster there? But you want to try doing it, sat on that motorbike going down a country lane at 200 miles an hour." He says, "I know damn well I should be doing better, but you know, it'll happen when it happens." And then he pulled out this quote, Guy Martin of Eisenhower.
It is not the critic who counts. I won't read it all because it goes on, but the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
and I agree
with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. So it's a good one. Yeah.
I'll have a look at that. But I think, we're all different. Like, we've all had different pasts, different experiences, different sort of levels of pushbacks and like knockbacks, and, you know, even if it's jobs or just life stuff. So, you know, leave a person to do what they want to and kind of bounce back when they need to. And I think that's, as long as they do bounce back eventually, that's the most important thing.
People learn and do things at their own pace.
Yeah.
You know, people learn at different rates, and like you just said, let people get on with it the way they know how, and they'll get there. What they need is support. They don't need knocking down every time. You know, they've
definitely
stuck something on backwards. Speaking from experience.
So, tell us something that the maker community doesn't know about you.
Going on from that, I nearly failed A-level art. Like, I barely scraped a pass. So, but that's talking into the sort of level that what I was making and what I was creating didn't fit within what the school boards and the school guidelines and the results wanted me to make. So, that's basically it. But I don't think I've actually ever said that. But I remember doing really well at GCSE. I took it for A-level. I didn't take like design technology or any sort of making. It was just art, and it was very much like fine art. So if you couldn't paint the apples that were in front of you on the bowl, then you had no chance. You were going to fail. And I struggled with still life. Like, I didn't really practice enough, and I was more the making side of art than I wanted to do the landscapes and sort of stuff from my memory and stuff that I wanted to do, you know, just kind of the 3D sort of stuff, and like the concept art as well, and like the animation, the movement, stop motion, model making, and bring that into sort of my art. But the teachers were having none of it, and they nearly failed me. I think I was 3 marks off a fail. So there you go. But school doesn't mean nothing.
To show it's very a niche thing, isn't it? And what you're doing and what a lot of the makers are doing is so far removed from that kind of academic art. And, you know, if you look at, what's he called? The wacky guy who makes all those machines.
Colin Furze.
Yeah, people like Colin Furze. I mean, they're just doing all these wacky things, aren't they? And
they're doing what they want to do, and like if an idea pops in their head, they'll just do it. And that's kind of the mindset that I love. I don't really want to be restricted by the guidelines and that you have to do some sort of political art piece for this one, and it just all gets a bit strange and abstract art and all stuff like that I don't quite understand. And I think everyone's, you know, art is subjective. Whatever sort of, everyone's different, you know, whatever art you like, it wouldn't be the same to the person sitting next to you. So I think, you know, schools, it's kind of hard for schools because they have to kind of group everyone together so they can mark them. They can't have 30 students going off on 30 different tangents because it'll be harder for them to do. So yeah, but I'm glad I didn't really take it as a knockback, because I still didn't really know when I left school kind of what sort of area of like art I wanted to go in. So I did like the foundation course, which is kind of like a college course that let you have a taster of all the subjects. So it was illustration, fine art, fashion, 3D, you know, all of them, even photography. So they kind of put everything on like on a weekly basis. You could have tasters, and then you kind of pick the two that you got on with the most and you pursued those. And that led me into the stop motion side of it, because I preferred doing that, and like stop motion is kind of a niche sort of art in itself, and I kind of liked that it was his own sort of beauty towards that, because it's on his own, the animation side of it, like Wallace and Gromit and like I love that sort of
Hardman style.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that? It's sort of like a mixture of live action and a bit of sort of like animations. It's called Angry Kid.
Yes, yeah. I know Angry Kid.
When I listen to that, I think, you know, talking about being off piste, flipping it, hilarious.
His voice.
It is insane. I'll let you listen to an episode later. That's an Aardman production, isn't it?
Yeah, spin-off. It's very different to Wallace and Gromit, mind.
Yeah, it's horrendously obnoxious, offensive teenager. Now, me and Charlie used to listen to it, and Charlie described what was going on and what the kid looked like. But it's just, I think it's hilarious. Did you like it, Sophie?
Yeah, I did. It was kind of, I wasn't really expecting it, because you kind of think, right, Aardman, Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep. It's very going to be timid. It's going to be very like, you know, above board, PG, fine. Angry Kid comes on and it's just mental.
Yeah. It's very risque.
Yeah.
But lots of fun. I love it. Yeah, so I'm going to start, because I have listened to them on YouTube. So yeah, so people out there listening, check out Angry Kid.
Well, there's a couple, Scott, the blue light turner, creating shavings since 2016 and in hospital with pneumonia, says Angry Kid is epic.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
JP Woodwork loves Angry Kid. Dad, what was all that noise coming from your room last night?
Yeah. There's episodes where, you know, a lot of the episodes is in the back of the car, just spouting off this Angry Kid. Dad. And I don't know if it was set in what time. I think it's the 70s, because Charlie said he was on like a chopper with an anorak. I don't know anyway, but you know, there's one episode he's in the back and he's sort of like pretending he's got Tourette's, and it's funny. But yeah, love it.
Mum says you're a very naughty boy.
Yeah.
So is there any skill that you've not tried yet, or any, I don't know what you call it in making or creating, but sort of any avenue, any discipline that you've not tried that you'd really like to have a go at?
It's what I've seen a lot of kind of recently is like the resin stuff, like actually casting in resin. I've seen so much like on YouTube, and actually casting your own like blanks and stuff. I'd love to do, maybe not so much the blanks, but like you see like the resin pouring art and like the canvases. So just kind of mixing that with a bit of what I already do then, and kind of mixed media pieces. But I've heard it's kind of not an expensive. If you get like the right resin, it's not an expensive hobby to get in, but it's a very messy hobby to get into. And I don't think my mum and dad would be very happy if I make any more mess in this house.
Well, you do it in your makerspace. You still got your workshop in the garden, in the shed.
Yeah. At the moment, you can't really get in my workshop because there's organised chaos in my workshop at the moment. There's lots of boxes everywhere, but it's do a sort out, because it needs some TLC, I think. And just throwing stuff out, because I'm really bad at hoarding stuff, and because I can justify anything. People just give me stuff and lids and ring pulls, and they're like, oh well, you need this, and I can justify anything. Like with the junk builds, I was like, but the kids could use that for a hat for their robot, or like a jetpack, or you know, I will justify anything. So I'm gonna be a bit ruthless, I think, and just throw some stuff out.
So where are you now?
In my mum and dad's house.
Right.
In the back bedroom.
Oh right, okay. I wasn't sure where you were. So let's see what everybody's saying. AH Bespoke says carving is where it's at.
Yeah, I'd like to try carving.
Bug. Oh, hang on, it keeps skipping up. Hang on. No, I think someone added a comment on the bottom. What matters really is the heart you put in your work. It's difficult to push past the negativity, you're right. But if your heart's in your craft, then I feel it makes up for the negativity.
Yeah,
that's true.
True.
So, yeah. Yes, there's a bit of talk about Cardiff and beeswax and lemon oil and mineral oil. So we'll have a look at that in a minute.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Make It Soph on YouTube and Make It _Soph on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Cool. So if you don't already follow Sophie, and I bet most of the people who are in the chat already follow you, do follow her. And
did you hear your voice then? You went, do you follow her? Nervous. I know her very well, you know. You went, follow her. Picked up on that. Sorry, carry on.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm not nervous at all.
I'm not nervous. It was just, I don't know, it's just a wobble.
It was a wobble.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
Follow her.
Yeah. Follow Sophie if you're not already following her.
Everywhere. Follow her everywhere. And yes, she's continuing to ascend and inspire and motivate artists, young and old, all over the place, with a weird and wacky, eclectic approach to.
I've just got to ask a question.
Cobbling stuff together.
Who does Sophie think can reverse the car better, her or Chris?
Oh, Chris, hands down.
Well,
there's obviously a reason for that
have
question.
You bumped your car, Sophie?
No, it was the first Maker Central, and Bobby Duke and Nicole, his wife, were at like Holiday Inn in Wales, and they came to Cardiff, and they asked, "Oh, do you mind like if we hitch a ride with you to the NEC?" I thought, "Oh, that's fine, you know, yeah, we'll drive." And I'm not a bad driver, but Bobby said, "Oh, can we pull over? Can I use the services and grab some food and use the toilet and stuff?" I said, "Yeah, that's fine." And I kind of, you know, you got the lines like this when you park. I kind of parked like this, like completely diagonal. And Bobby got out the car and he was like, he didn't really say anything. I was like, "Sorry, I can't park, but I'm not going to move here either." But it was way away from the services. I wasn't in anyone's way. I took, you know, full measures that I wasn't going to, you know, bump into anyone or anything like that. But yeah, I can't really park. I can park, maybe not reverse park.
Well, our car has parking sensors, so I have been known to turn the car around on the drive and back it up to the workshop when I need to load the car. Yeah. But I wouldn't attempt it if I didn't have the parking sensors. So basically, if it's pointing the wrong way, I'll go on full lock forward until I get the back, beep, then opposite lock, back, beep, and I keep doing that until in my mind. And then what I have to do is put the handbrake on, put it in park, then go out and have a feel. Like, I am actually in front of our house and not the neighbours or on their lawn.
I've come upstairs. It's usually in the morning when this happens. So I'll have gone for a shower, and when I've gone for the shower, the car's maybe parking up towards the house, and I might just look out the window after I've had my shower, and the car's parking pointing the other way.
Yeah, but I wouldn't attempt it if we didn't have parking sensors.
So that's probably what I need then. Some
parking sensors. Get some parking sensors. Yeah, retrofit them to your car.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
and then Jamie can't say anything because I'll park brilliantly every time.
Yeah, that's right. You show them.
Well, it's been lovely having you on the podcast, Sophie, and it was great to see you on Saturday and catch up with you and spend a bit of time with you. And I just know that you've got such a bright future, and you're going to be doing even more amazing things than you've already been doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me on. You know, you both serve as like a massive inspiration for me, the both of you, like your hard work and just the way Chris approaches like work, and you know how he turns is just brilliant to watch. And yeah, no, I'll any demo you have in Cardiff, I'll be there.
Well, thank you very much. Well, yeah, lovely, kind words, and you know that all of that love that you just sent our way, we send it straight back to you and your family and your community. And yeah, we've got your back, sister. Don't you worry about that.
Thank you, and likewise, and Bamba.
Yeah, of course, Bamba. Yeah.
Part myself over there now.
Yeah.
Right then. Well, here endeth the Make a Monday segment. So we'll carry on with our little chat about what we've been doing this week. You're most welcome to stay.
Yeah, stick around.
Okay. And yeah, chip in if you like.
Yeah,
and
as often as you want to, as often as you need to.
Yeah, whatever.
And people, have you got the chat up there on your screen, Sophie?
Yeah, I can get it up.
Yeah. So yeah, people, by
There's
all
lots
means,
of nice comments there as well.
Yeah, by all means, people, you can still keep putting up questions and comments for Sophie to read there.
Yeah.
So that's cool. She's hanging out with us for the rest of the show, so that's cool.